Have you ever felt the spark of a dream ignite inside you? That moment where you tell yourself, this is it. This is what I was born to do. Maybe it's the business you want to start, the book you want to write, or the life you imagine living without limits. For a brief moment, it feels real. It feels possible. But then, something happens. The spark fades. The dream slowly slips into the background of your mind, until one day it's just a memory you hardly talk about. Why does this happen? Why do most dreams die before they even begin? If you're searching for the keys to unlock wealth and freedom, you're in the right place. Let's open the vault. The truth is, the graveyard of human potential is filled not with people who failed, but with people who never started. Their ideas never made it past the stage of imagination. And if we're honest, we've all been there. You have a dream, you feel the excitement, but when it's time to take the first step, hesitation sneaks in. Doubt creeps in. Suddenly, the energy fades, and you convince yourself, maybe later. Maybe someday. But here's the twist, most dreams don't die because they're impossible. They die in the shadows, long before reality even has a chance to test them. And the reason behind that is darker, and more surprising, than you think. Because what kills most dreams isn't failure. It's something far more silent. Something that lives inside your mind right now. And in the next few minutes, we're going to uncover exactly what it is. Let's get real for a moment. The number one killer of dreams isn't lack of money, or lack of talent, or even lack of opportunity. It's fear. But not the kind of fear you think. See, fear doesn't always show up as a monster in the dark. It disguises itself in small, reasonable voices inside your head. It whispers things like, "You're not ready yet. What if you fail and embarrass yourself? You need more experience before you start." These thoughts sound rational, don't they? They almost sound protective, like they're keeping you safe. But in reality, they are silent assassins. They kill your dream before it even takes its first breath. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself you'll start tomorrow, or when the timing is better, or after you learn just a little bit more? And then months pass. Years pass. The dream that once felt alive begins to rot in the back of your mind, and all that's left is regret. Here's the catch, fear disguises itself so well that you don't even recognize it. You mistake it for logic. You convince yourself it's practical thinking, when in reality, it's just fear wearing a mask. And here's the cliffhanger, what if I told you this disguised fear has a predictable pattern? That if you learn how to spot it, you can stop it before it kills your dream? In the next section, I'll show you exactly how this silent enemy hides inside your daily thoughts, and how to expose it before it's too late. Here's what most people never notice, fear doesn't kill your dream in one dramatic moment. It strangles it slowly, step by step, through a predictable pattern. And if you've ever felt stuck, chances are you've been caught in it too. It starts with excitement. You feel inspired, motivated, maybe after watching a video like this, or reading a book, or having a big idea in the shower. For a few hours, or maybe a few days, you feel unstoppable. But then the second stage kicks in, hesitation. You start questioning yourself. Do I really have what it takes? What if this isn't the right time? What if I waste my energy? Suddenly, that fire you felt begins to flicker. And here's where it gets dangerous, the third stage is rationalization. This is where you convince yourself that waiting is the smart move. You tell yourself, I'll start when I have more money. Or, I'll begin once I finish this degree. Or, after things settle down, I'll go for it. It sounds responsible, but it's really just fear wearing a suit and tie. Finally, there's the fourth stage, stagnation. The dream gets shelved. You might still think about it, but you no longer take steps toward it. Days turn into weeks, weeks into years, and one day, you barely recognize the version of yourself that once believed it was possible. And here's the part that should make you pause, this pattern doesn't just happen once. It repeats. Over and over, every time a new dream comes to life in your mind. Until one day, you stop dreaming altogether. But what if you could break the cycle? What if you could step in at the exact moment fear tries to disguise itself, and choose a different path? In the next section, I'll share the psychological tricks successful people use to outsmart this pattern before it even begins. Now, here's the good news: you don't need to eliminate fear to save your dream. You only need to interrupt its pattern. Because fear thrives in silence. It grows strongest when you don't challenge it, when you let those whispered doubts roll through your mind unchecked. Psychologists have a name for this: cognitive interruption. The idea is simple. The moment you feel fear beginning to disguise itself as logic, you call it out. You bring it into the light. For example, instead of saying, "I need to wait until the timing is perfect," you challenge that thought with, "Is this fear talking, or is this fact?" When you do this, something powerful happens. Your brain stops operating on autopilot. You break the cycle long enough to make a conscious choice. And that tiny pause, that microsecond of awareness, can mean the difference between moving forward and letting the dream die. Think about Thomas Edison, who failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. If he had listened to the logical-sounding voices saying, "You've failed too many times, it's time to stop," he would have quit long before he changed the world. The truth? Fear sounded logical even to him. The difference is, he interrupted it. He didn't wait for the perfect moment, he created it by acting in the middle of imperfection. And here's the part most people miss: successful people don't feel less fear than you. They just have a habit of catching fear before it grows roots. But here's the cliffhanger: there's another assassin of dreams that's even more dangerous than fear. And unlike fear, this one doesn't just kill dreams quietly, it convinces you that you never even had one in the first place. In the next section, I'll reveal exactly what it is. If fear is the silent killer of dreams, then social conditioning is the thief that steals them before they're even born. And here's what makes it so dangerous: you rarely notice it happening. From the moment you were a child, society began teaching you what was realistic. Teachers told you to focus on safe careers. Parents warned you not to take too many risks. Friends rolled their eyes when you shared a big idea. Slowly, without even realizing it, you learned to shrink your vision. You were trained to think small. And here's the painful truth: most people's dreams don't die in adulthood, they're buried in childhood. By the time you're old enough to chase your vision, you've already been conditioned to doubt it. You've absorbed phrases like, "Be practical. That's not how the real world works. Don't get your hopes up." These words dig into your subconscious until you start repeating them to yourself. Think about it: how many times have you silenced your own idea before even speaking it aloud? How many times have you downgraded your dream, just to make it more acceptable to the people around you? That's social conditioning at work. But here's where it gets really scary. When social conditioning takes hold, you don't just stop chasing your dream, you start to believe you never really had one. You convince yourself you're content with a life that doesn't excite you. You wear comfort like a mask, even as a quiet voice inside whispers, "This isn't enough." And here's the cliffhanger: escaping social conditioning isn't about rebelling against everyone around you. It's about rewiring your own mind to think bigger than the world has trained you to. In the next section, we'll explore how to break free from the invisible cage society built around your potential. So, how do you break free from social conditioning? How do you escape the invisible cage that keeps most people living small, safe lives? It begins with awareness. You have to realize that the beliefs you hold about what's possible weren't all created by you. Many of them were handed down, almost like software installed in your brain by family, teachers, media, and society. Once you recognize that, you gain the power to question it. The next step is what psychologists call mental reprogramming. It's the conscious act of choosing new beliefs. Napoleon Hill called it autosuggestion. It's the practice of feeding your subconscious with thoughts and images of what you want, not what society told you was acceptable. For example, instead of saying, "I'm not the type of person who can start a business," you replace it with, "I'm learning how to create wealth step by step." Small shifts like this compound into new patterns of thought, and those new patterns create new actions. But here's the catch: this isn't a one-time decision. Social conditioning doesn't vanish overnight. Every day, you're surrounded by people who will try to pull you back into the cage. Every day, you'll feel the pressure to play small again. That's why daily reinforcement is crucial. Visualization, affirmations, reading powerful ideas, surrounding yourself with people who think bigger, these are the tools that weaken the bars of the cage until they finally break. And here's the cliffhanger: even if you defeat fear and break free from social conditioning, there's one more dream killer you have to face. It's sneaky, it's persistent, and it masquerades as harmless comfort. In fact, it might already be controlling your life without you realizing it. We'll expose it in the next section. If fear is the first assassin and social conditioning is the second, then comfort is the third, and maybe the deadliest of them all. Why? Because it doesn't fight you. It seduces you. Comfort feels good in the moment. The warm bed when you should wake up early. The Netflix show when you promised yourself you'd work on your side project. The steady paycheck that keeps you from chasing the business idea that scares you. Comfort whispers, "You're fine. You deserve to relax. Don't push too hard." And little by little, it lulls you into a life that feels safe, but slowly strangles your potential. The scary part? Most people don't even realize they're trapped in comfort. They tell themselves they're happy enough. They avoid risk, avoid challenge, avoid the unknown. And on the surface, life looks stable. But underneath, something is missing. The fire. The hunger. The aliveness that comes from pursuing something bigger than yourself. Think about it: some of the most successful people in history weren't the smartest, the richest, or the most talented. They were simply the ones who refused to settle for comfort. They stepped into uncertainty, embraced struggle, and chose growth over ease. Here's the paradox: comfort feels safe, but in reality, it's the most dangerous place to live. Because the longer you stay comfortable, the more your dream withers away. And one day, you wake up and realize you've built a life that doesn't reflect who you truly are. But here's the good news: escaping the comfort trap doesn't require giant leaps. It starts with small acts of discomfort, doing the thing you've been avoiding, leaning into challenge instead of away from it. And in the next section, we'll uncover a powerful method to rewire your relationship with discomfort, turning it from your enemy into the fuel that propels your dream forward. Here's the secret most people never learn: discomfort isn't your enemy, it's your compass. It points directly toward the areas where growth lives. The problem is, we've been trained to run from it instead of toward it. Think about the gym. The very thing that builds muscle is resistance. Without the weight pushing against you, there's no growth. The same is true in life. The obstacles, the challenges, the awkward first steps, these are the weights that strengthen your character and bring your dream closer to reality. The trick is to reframe discomfort. Instead of saying, "This feels scary, I should stop," you shift to, "This feels scary, which means I'm exactly where I need to be." That simple reframe changes everything. Suddenly, fear becomes fuel. Resistance becomes a signal that you're moving in the right direction. Successful people don't chase comfort, they chase growth. They've built a habit of leaning into the uncomfortable conversation, the risky decision, the vulnerable step forward. And over time, they realize something profound: what was once uncomfortable eventually becomes normal. Your comfort zone expands, and with it, your life. But here's the best part: once you start treating discomfort as your ally, you create unstoppable momentum. Small brave actions stack on top of each other until one day you look back and realize, the cage is gone. Fear doesn't control you. Social conditioning doesn't silence you. Comfort doesn't seduce you. You've broken free. And yet, there's one final truth about dreams that we need to confront. Even after defeating fear, social conditioning, and comfort, there's a deeper reason why most dreams never make it to reality. And if you don't face this last truth, your dream could still slip away. We'll uncover it in the next section. Here's the uncomfortable truth: even if you conquer fear, escape conditioning, and break free from comfort, your dream will still die if you never translate it into action. And not just any action, consistent, structured, deliberate action. Most people stop at inspiration. They feel motivated, they visualize, they even tell others about their dream. But when it comes time to design a plan, something practical, something measurable, they freeze. They hope the dream will magically come alive on its own. But dreams don't grow in the soil of hope. They grow in the soil of daily execution. Napoleon Hill said it best: a goal is a dream with a deadline. Without clarity, your dream is just a fantasy. You wouldn't try to build a house without a blueprint. Yet so many people try to build a life without one. That's why the dream collapses before it begins. Think about it. The dream of writing a book dies because there's no schedule to write 1 page a day. The dream of starting a business dies because there's no small step mapped out for today, tomorrow, and next week. The dream of transforming your health dies because there's no consistent routine to follow. And here's the kicker: you don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to know the whole path. You just need to know the first step, and then commit to it with everything you have. The path unfolds as you walk it. But in the next and final section, we'll tie everything together. Because knowing why dreams die isn't enough. To truly set yourself free, you need the master key, the mindset shift that turns your dream from fragile and fleeting into inevitable. So let's bring it all together. Why do most dreams die before they even begin? It's not because they're impossible. It's because they get assassinated, first by fear, then by social conditioning, then by the seductive pull of comfort, and finally, by the absence of a clear plan. But here's the powerful truth you need to take with you: every single one of those assassins lives inside your mind. And that means every single one of them can be defeated. Fear loses its power the moment you call it out. Social conditioning weakens the moment you choose to rewrite your beliefs. Comfort stops trapping you the second you embrace discomfort as growth. And the absence of a plan disappears the moment you pick up a pen and design one small step forward. Your dream doesn't need perfect timing. It doesn't need permission. And it doesn't need to wait for someday. It needs one thing: you. The version of you who chooses to act today, even if it's messy, even if it's scary, even if it feels uncertain. Because the truth is, no one else can keep your dream alive but you. So the next time you feel that spark, don't let it fade. Catch it. Protect it. Feed it with daily action until it grows too strong to die. Because the world doesn't just need more dreamers, it needs people bold enough to bring those dreams to life. This is one key, but if you want the whole vault, subscribe.